This bleached TCG tin is not the subject of today's video. Hey there, kiddos, and welcome back to the channel. I'm Uncle Frank, hoping that you are having a great day, and in today's video, we're going to be sitting back, relaxing, and having a little chat about not the bleached TCG, although that is still on the agenda. I will still want to talk about that at some point in the near future. Instead, today we are sitting back, relaxing, and having a conversation about risk, reward, pre-orders, cancellation, and the overall state of the TCG market when it comes to future price expectations versus in-the-moment rewards. So if you are at all familiar, okay, with TCGs in general, the set-to-set release ones, you know that pre-ordering is a very common thing. A lot of stores do it, and a lot of people purchase their products before they've even hit the market. And for some people, there's a lot of reason to do so. In theory, you know, if the store you trust is good and the market goes your way, pre-ordering can be great because you can secure the item you want weeks or even months in advance. So if the market experiences some turbulence with prices rising or falling, you have a potential guarantee that what you want is what you're going to get for what you paid for it. And if the market goes a certain way and the store you're working with can be trusted, that's all fine and dandy. If you are in a situation, okay, where you bought a Final Fantasy collector booster box, okay, you bought it for $600. It's pretty good. You placed the pre-order down a few months before pre-release even came and went, and as the release day crawled closer, you could not help but notice that the price was going up and up and up and up, and you were worried that you'd have to pay more. But you were a smart little onion, and you secured your pre-order for $600, and the store you bought it from was just on top of the world. They got what they said they were going to get, and you got your box for $600, and now at release it's shooting past $1,000. Good on you. Pre-orders worked, and clearly you should do this more often. But let's say that you didn't go with a store that you knew you could trust, and prices did creep up. And then the store cancels your pre-order, and now you locked up that money for potentially months without any reward. Money that could have been put to work in any number of ways, whether it's buying other products before their release or after release, or putting them in a stock or bond or something like that. And all you have to show for it is a nasty message left on social media saying, "Oh, this store is awful. Please vaporize them." This is keyboard typing. People used to do this. You know, all you're left with for your time is hurt feelings and no product in hand. Heck, sometimes you don't even get your money back. Some stores can be really skeezy when it comes to refunds. But let's flip the dial for a second. Let's say that you are on the other side of that coin. Let's say that you are a store and you engage in pre-orders. It's a good way to secure just a bit of extra cash flow for one. And it, in theory, you know, helps you have a bit of extra money under the belt for either expenses that you need to have or to help pad the numbers with distribution. So in a perfect world, you know, you put out the pre-orders for a modest markup for whatever you think it's going to be worth. And as the release date comes closer, you get your orders in, you see that you have exactly enough to fulfill your pre-orders and then have a few extra left over for yourself, and you send them out having made a modest profit, right? But that's not always the case, is it? You don't live in a perfect world, and if you're a store, all too often things happen that turn this potentially lucrative business model into a nightmare. For one, distribution is not guaranteed. If you are any kind of store that works with any of the distributors, it doesn't matter how much they like you, how much money you spent, things can still go wrong, and you can still not get the allocations you thought you were going to get. So it doesn't matter what you promised the customer. At the end of the day, you don't have the product, which means you can't send it out, which means you have to cancel the pre-order. Or, let's say from the other angle happens, let's say that for the last 6 months, booster boxes of a certain kind, a certain collectible kind, have been looking really good and have only ever gone up. So your pre-orders for this particular kind of booster box has been through the roof and very lucrative. You can sell it for $100 over MSRP, assuming that you were able to score them at distributor prices. If you can sell them $100 or $200 over MSRP, you are making a banger. You're making a killing here. And this can work for several months, several releases even. But then all of a sudden, the market shifts, and these people who were buying from you and were letting you hold on to their wonderful cash, that wonderful cash flow that you need to make your business run just that bit more efficiently, well, they're getting nervous because they spent money that they didn't really have, that they really couldn't afford to spend. And now a new one of these collector kind of booster boxes is out, and all of a sudden, just a few weeks before release, it drops drastically in price, upwards of like 20%, 30%. And now, all of a sudden, the sky is falling, and people who had been locking in their pre-orders with you want to cancel because they know that they can get just a bit more bang for their buck elsewhere. And what can you do but cancel the order because, hey, you're on an open market, and pre-orders can be canceled by just about every single online retailing marketplace. And you just have to bite the bullet and return that money that you may have already allocated to something else, hitting you with a pretty nasty loss that is, in more ways than one, not fun to deal with. Now, if you're a large enough business and either of these two things happens to you, it's probably not the end of the world. If a handful of customers cancel their several $100 boxes, you're good. You're A-okay in theory. It's a loss. A loss is a loss, and no one's ever happy with it, but it's not the end of the world. But if you're a smaller business, if you've only got $5,000 to $10,000 to your name to make ends meet at the end of the month, and that money is allocated by you towards bills, future set expenses, all the repair costs you might need to do around the business, or anything else really. Just a handful of cancellations from callous customers who know that they're going to get a better deal elsewhere, that can do a lot of damage. And yeah, sure, distribution giving you less product than what you ordered, that can hurt too. But in theory, if you refund the orders that you were going to use to pay for that money, for those items, if you refund the orders, you're not, in theory, as screwed as the other way around, right? You might not have already spent that money, in theory. If you're smart, you wouldn't have already spent that money, I should say, if you were smart. But yeah, in theory, you could come out of a cancellation like that, hopefully a thriving business, but it's always a feel-bad situation, whether it's you had to cancel the order because you just didn't get enough of the product in, or the customers cancel the order because they know that they can get a better deal. Either way, someone is left holding the bags, and that someone is going to be less than optimistic about conducting business that particular way in the future. And this is a lesson that a lot of stores learn, okay? Yeah, this could go out to the pure customers out there, and I could say as many times as I want that pre-ordering your items is not a guarantee, and it's not always fair, and nothing ever works out the way you want it to. But this message really is going to those out there who are either engaging in pre-selling as a store, pre-orders as a store, or are considering it. There's a lot of risk on the table, and I just do not see a lot of benefit to it. Yes, in theory, if everything works out fine, there's a lot of benefit. But I do not think that that reward outweighs the risks associated with pre-orders in general, especially when right now in the thriving, bullish, hype-ish, super FOMO market we're experiencing, there's so many other way lower risk options to bring in extra capital from across the board. And I think, especially when, there's just buying bulk, buy bulk. Just buying bulk is a really excellent way to bring in just a bit of extra cash. Why risk your reputation, your finances over some pre-orders that either the distribution could unintentionally screw you over or your customers could screw you over? Why engage in that risk when there's less risky ways to try to get just a bit of extra cash? I hope I was articulate enough in this video. I tried recording it like 30 minutes ago, and like 10 minutes in, I started rambling nonsense. So I hope I got my point across. I hope you guys understand what I'm trying to say here. It's just, I understand why people engage in pre-orders. I just do not personally think that I would ever do it again. Nor, if somebody asked me if it was worth it, would I ever tell them yes. So thank you so much for watching this video. Please like, share, subscribe, all that jazz. This video was born out of a viewer comment. I forgot to take down their name, so I apologize, but you know who you are because you made a good point about pre-orders not necessarily being worth the risk. So thank you, guys. Peace sign around here somewhere. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.